call the spaceships to Davenport, prepare for divanarchy, and interface with a couch in space. Space Couchketeers, every time I hit that streaming button, it's a little bit of a race to see if I can get the feed to come up in a way that I can, in time to share it from like the Space Couch feed to like my Brian feed in time, and I missed it today. So if you see my face really big up in your grill, that means I was slow on the draw, but that's okay because we're traveling at light speed and it's all relative here in space. I want to get to our advertisers because as you know, there are many record labels in the world. But we got the best one backing us here in outer space. It is Tiger Squawk Records. Oh, all the sound, all the shadows. Ken Moggerman is first in the chat room today. Space. Tiger Squawk Records. You want to check out new from Isserly? How do we know she is alive? Just a powerhouse of an album. Amalgamated Cadaver, that's me and definitely making noise. Mighty Wings covered by Norway's Industrial. He's back. It's awesome. New Duck Bag TM. It's so good. New from Stigmata with Screwdrivers. Speaking of noise, insane. Sanity Check. Speaking of insane, that's me and Planet Damage out of Budapest. 313333333 from Pill Brigade. It's really good. All the new Circles singles out on Tiger Squawk. You also want to check out the Gothsicles being remixed by Science Fiction. It is electric hot. Epitaph as covered by Batavia. How could you ever go wrong? More Duckbag that just came out. It's called Routine Z. And the Tiger Squawk Mysticon sampler is in pre-order. It comes out Friday. You'll want to check that out at tigersquawkrecords.bandcamp.com. DJ D42 on Twitch today. What's up? Very appropriate that we have those two people in the chat room as they relate directly to our guest, to whom I am especially excited to speak. Let's just do it because we've had a great conversation going before the show. We're going to continue. Ladies and gentlemen, from Festival Oscura and Hueco. Nope. There we go. Sorry about that. Jose, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Fine. Thank you very much for the invitation, for the space, yes, continuing with all this networking that we are being doing, all this year.
Well, you have been a networking superhero, and I'm happy to bring the ends of that network out here past into the rim, into the cosmic void of dudes sitting on Davenports in deep space. Holy crap, with the help of some of our guests today, not only on the show but in the chat room, you just pulled off a 3-day festival. How do you feel, sir?
Relief,
Okay, cool. Normally we do these, or is it just shakes out like it's sort of a precursor, like to generate hype, and it's rare we get the opportunity to do sort of a post-mortem on it. So I'm happy you're alive. I'm happy you're feeling relief, and well, you put together one heck of a product. Let's just take a look at just some clips I threw together.
Okay.
And then we'll have a basis from which to speak to our audience. So here's that. Here's our Festival Oscura.
Look at the mirror and tell me what you see. It's just a reflection of your misery.
Destroying all their creations. And now we
city and its own ladder. I'm taking corners at high speeds.
So we are back. That was amazing. World spanning, as you and I were just talking about while the clip was running, but you hit not only did we hit Mexico, the United States, and Central America. I don't know anything heretofore about bands out of Brazil, Venezuela, El Salvador. We got a range from bands that were new to me to legends like Angel Spit, Curse Mackey, so how does that come together? And speaking of bands, how did you come to work with our wonderful MTV TV and Sound and Shadows?
Well, yes. I mean, of course, this was a group effort. You know, I mean, there were here in Mexico we have the team that work in order this to happen. We are four people. Alejandro Darcleto, who runs this magnificent page called Escena Oscura Mexicana, Obscura Mexican Scene. You know, where he has compilated like 600 bands from the 80s till the 2020s, you know, making all these biographies and
like this Library of Dark Congress.
Yes. I mean, he has released 3 compilations right now. I mean, CD compilations, because we love physical stuff.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah.
From the before time.
He was there. I mean, Sara Arriola, who is this fantastic woman who has all these knots with the literary dark scene here in Mexico, and Jessica Perez Figueroa, who is this great cultural organizer, who also happens to be my manager, you know. And then we, through them, we got in contact with Mantis Oscura Latinoamericana, which is this collective from Costa Rica, and they have linked many bands from other countries, from South America. They began to work with Soviet net label. They are from Argentina, and they linked everybody with Underdark Produções and Góticos do Brasil, you know, from all the Brazilian part.
This is some supervillain shit. This is like world spanning. This is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, I mean, we began to chat with this all these people through the early months in the 2021. I mean, we talk about this. This is some part of the benefits of the pandemic era. You know, that we have met a lot of interesting and marvelous people that maybe we haven't got in contact with if we hadn't been in our homes, you know, in the Zoom and then, you know, in January, some friends of mine and from other bands, they began to publish in this new Facebook group that was like there. So it was like something that I didn't know about this back then. And I said, Sounds and Shadows. Oh, say hello to everybody. And then there was this post about somebody wanting to know about Latin America, you know, and I was like, well, let's chat there, and I just began to chat with this person, you know,
some guy.
Well, you know, I've been in this Mexican scene for some years, blah blah blah. okay, so and then this Ken Mager, all right, so I'm going to add him, and then we began to chat, and he said, well, something, why don't we make a call,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, yeah, sure. I mean,
Awesome.
let's. I mean, I have time. You have time, right? And it was this phone call. I mean, phone calls through the through the Facebook. I don't know
Right,
where,
right, right.
and it became like a 2 hour phone call.
Okay,
We were
okay. Just
talking and talking and talking about. So I
electrons are
just,
flying.
yeah. So I discovered who he was, and we began to work together. He
Love it.
offered me, I mean, space in the Sounds and Shadows magazine, and we made an interview about the origins of the Mexican goth scene,
Mm-hmm.
and then we were just talking, like, what would be fantastic to make a festival,
Mm-hmm.
like that covers all these countries that we are being, chatting and talking and everything. And then I said, yeah, sure. And at some point in the year, a promoter here in Mexico, who is a legendary promoter, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
from the 80s and the 90s, he called me and he said, well, we are reactivating things, so
Oh, awesome.
why why don't we make this dark, obscure festival, so I mean people can get to know all this? And I say, well, just let's do it. Let me just get in touch with all these people, and we can do some live stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, I mean it was like very natural stuff, but of course we didn't count on delta variation.
What are you gonna do?
And
Oh, so this was gonna be like live, live.
it was going to
Okay.
be like hybrid,
Uh-huh.
with all these things we have on the streams we got pre-recorded, and all these interviews, and then but we were going to do the panels in that we had in yes, in the live a live fashion, and we were doing the international or the national panels, but from people from other states, yeah, via streaming. And then, like, oops, what
Womp
again?
womp.
So I was like, like, with all this tension, I talked to Ken, and he said, well, we can do it on the same. I mean, this was happening on December. We can do it because we have everything that was going to be shown on streaming is pre-recorded. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, well, do you know something? Why don't we push it to January, so
Mm-hmm.
many bands that were going to be there, can get to record their performances, and all the panels. Let me reorganize them
Mm-hmm.
so we can do this. And then, since one of the other greatest relationships I have begun was with these two guys from MTV TV,
Yeah.
and
Shout out to Adam Baum in
Adam
the
Bomb,
chat room
yes, and
today.
Diana,
Also,
yeah.
shout out to Ernesto and Ruben. Thanks for joining us. But
Okay.
so you're working with MTV TV. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Yes, I
off.
mean, but I mean, we began just, like everything, like just sharing some videos from my band,
Mm-hmm.
and then we began. I mean, they asked me to do this clip on Spanish, so we can invite other bands from Latin America. Yes, sure, of course. I mean, being on this, not only on the scene, but on the dark alternative music scene, but I mean, in just the independent
Mm-hmm.
rock music scene in Mexico, you learn that yes, if you do not work in a net, nothing is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if some other band is doing great, it's great for my band, and it's great for
Mm-hmm.
everybody. I mean, uh, doing this, I mean, we don't have to like be like, oh no, my band is better than yours, or my band is better than yours, and you're not getting. I mean, like yes, that used to happen here
Oh yeah.
more in the 90s in Mexico. I mean, it's still happening, but
Sure.
like let's not do that. I called some of my other band friends from other bands, and why don't you send your videos to these guys? They are doing this, and they are going to open some window on the states too, so people there can get to know your project. And yes, we were going like that, and then Ken said, "Well, why don't we invite Adam and Diana just to
Love it.
see what we can do with them?" And you know, we began to talk with them, and I said, "We have this problem in Mexico. We of course, technology is not as advanced as in the States and in America. I mean, it's like that's a fact."
Okay.
So yes, we have all these problems with Facebook, sometimes with YouTube, that they mute the music. So, and I said, well, in order to avoid that to happen, why? I mean,
What is
uh,
like the government? You mean or what?
no, no, no. Just Facebook policies, that blocks the sound in the
Okay, just like a copyright thing.
yeah, the
Okay.
copyrights. I mean, is that the algorithm is there, so the copyright, enters into action, and then you see, this all these performances in the mute mode.
Right.
Like,
Okay. Gotcha. Thought I
so it's
lost you
very
there for a
fun,
second.
right? Yeah. No, I mean, it's not like, it's like you go like that, and
Right. Sure.
everybody's like, what? So I told them that, so I have make all this research about Twitch in Mexico. We do not have Twitch servers in Mexico. That's why
Hmm.
we cannot do live performances on via Twitch. So would it be too much bother if you take care of this? And they, with all their hearts, with all their support and love of this, they say, sure, we will transmit everything. I mean,
Boom.
it was so
MTV
much
TV.
great. I mean, yes, MTV TV just grab they put the shirt of the Festival Oscura. They are part of Festival Oscura. I mean, yeah, we everybody. I mean, we got all the music performances broadcast by them. It was incredible. Everybody was so happy, and everybody got a very good feeling, and they create all this very fabulous, response. So yeah, so
Fantastic.
here we are. I mean,
The trifecta of Sound and Shadows MTV and
right.
Festival Oscura is really exciting. I love it. It sounds like you got some great networking
Hmm.
out of it.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
love that. It's been my experience. Like they're friends now, but I was initially like crazy over starstruck to meet like Curse Mackey the first time. But oh shit, pig face, my thrill kill code, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, chill out, hi. So, but now we're friends, and the point of that is, and like same thing with Angel Spit, is there are these bands that allow themselves to be included in a festival where I might not know who, let's say, because I live in Boston, Godless Procession is, and so now this
Hmm.
is wonderful from me as a viewer. I get this wonderful sort of networking, but it sounds like you had that a similar experience as a promoter. Now that you know more people or
Yeah.
bands, or could you speak to that experience?
Well, I mean, it was wonderful because, I mean, we began to build this in, like, yes, hey, let me send you my
Hmm.
videos and send me yours, and but now it has like it has beginning to make to become much more solid,
Hmm.
and the fact that people from many countries are beginning to get to know
Hmm.
everybody. I mean, it's fantastic. The thing in Mexico is that we, for many years, we have suffered from all this. Everything is centralized in the main cities. Mexico City,
Hmm.
Guadalajara, Monterrey, and you forget about the other 30 states that are
Wow. Okay.
part of the country. And then we began to get in touch with some other folk, that are working in these other states that are like you don't even would think that in Chiapas,
Right.
because Chiapas is all this state that has a jungle, a real jungle,
Okay.
and it's
Right.
very hot. And yes, talking about tropic gothic stuff, but they are these guys who are very, very proactive, and they are doing a lot of things. So they said, well, something, why don't we start by building all this circuit of venues in all these different states, I mean, not just we know that it's not like, yes, come here and we are going to do all the work for you. We are going to put you in a five-star hotel. No, I mean, but the fact that
Right.
just having, the contact with the people from different these venues that are exclusive from the scene, and these shows, radio shows, or or Facebook shows or whatever that are from the scene, it can bring to a much more solid, network. And that's the thing that that came out from the festival, from national, and of course trying to do this in a wider spectrum, when we can in the future include all the people from many bands from America, through Sands and Shadows, through MTV TV, through Space Couch, and the
Yeah. Space.
people from the Latin America, from that has joined through the Mantis Oscura, Underdark Productions, or Sovietnet level. I mean, it's going to be great, because it will be like something that is there for you if you had a band, a dark alternative music band that you can use. Like, I mean, you want to do to here it is. You want to use it. I mean, by all means, it's
Wow.
in charge. I mean,
Well, what do you think of this? And I normally send guests questions beforehand, but I'm
mhm,
going to throw something out because because we were talking about this before the show, and I'm excited about it because I thought of
mhm,
it because I think it's great. But I'm going to posit a question from it. We had discussed before the show about how don't let me put words in your mouth. Let me,
mhm,
but uh, for a while, rock was sort of outlawed in Mexico City, if not Mexico, and we used the metaphor of the movie Galaxy Quest
mhm,
to sort of say like a generation at least had to sort of look to movies and magazines and sort of odd cinema to sort of get a sense of what an indie rock scene even looked like. And in Galaxy Quest, these aliens get essentially their Star Trek
mhm.
broadcast, and these aliens go, okay, this is what space is. This is how spaceships look. So you're sort of creating an indie scene based off of an image or an impression of an impression of an impression of an indie scene. Now it sounds like this might be the tipping point where it's like instead of sort of retroactively trying to create this past, we've now gone to the point that this is what Mexican, if you want, or global independent music looks like going forward. Do you think we're at that threshold?
Yes, I think so, because I mean we have much more, a lot of information now. Of course, there always be all this huge group of people who they are not going to be interested in what is happening or doing research further than the things that they listen or that they keep reading or that they keep getting information from this specific radio shows or magazines, or something like that, of course. But the thing is to create this little group of people who uh, make the roots strong, and try to make other bands to get to know you and to use it. Yes, right. We are, of course, this is a cliche, like if you don't read history, you are condemned to repeat it. But it's a cliche that has happened, from the beginning of time. So right, right. But I guess that in order to that if it's going to be, like how do you say it in English? Mouth to like
Hand to mouth. Like,
yeah,
okay.
right. Something like that it's going to happen.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Of course, I mean, always you are going to face this thresholds, this threshold keepers, that are trying to take advantage of you,
Sure.
like making you selling tickets to open to this huge band, and it's your opportunity,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you have to demonstrate that you work by, you are going to sell uh, 50 tickets,
Right.
and you have to give me them. I mean, that's always going to happen,
Yeah.
believe me. But yeah, I mean, things are changing, of course. I mean, all this, this image that we used to have back in the 80s, back in the 90s, where, yeah, the space should be like Star Trek says, that there is sound and there are,
Right.
or like
Right.
Star Wars, lightsabers,
Yeah.
and then you go outside and it's like quiet and
Right.
nothing is like, like, oh, but shouldn't here, what?
Oh, what a great metaphor! Yeah, like even just in the physical space, like where's all the light shows and the force chokes and stuff? No, it's
Yeah,
just a void. There's nothing.
right. Yeah, it's like, okay. I mean, I'm sure it's
Yeah.
amazing, of course, but, I wouldn't change it if I could have the opportunity to go there. But yes, it's like, okay,
Right.
but now guess
Right.
where you have
Now
to,
we
what
have
you
to
have to
do that
eat.
that work you talked about.
Yeah. So yes, we have to work a lot, and yes, there is a lot. I mean, it's a non-stoppable work. I mean, it's never going to end. It's going to be there. We have now the, like the, no, the idea of doing it, and I'm sure that people 10 years from now are getting it, and they have to take it from us,
Hmm.
and continue opening this. But yes, I mean, it's not like, we're going to bring some band from the United States, and we don't have money, but I mean, it's rock and roll. Sure that they are going to get it and they are going to understand.
It's,
They,
magic will
yeah,
happen.
yeah, just
Yeah.
like, no, it's not like that.
That's actually a very good point. Is these online festivals make practicality happen so much more, and no one needs to triple mortgage their home just to like have a party for a weekend,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. Um, we are just flying through time, and I want to get to this because I'm curious about it. So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit because not only do we have the helmsman of Festival Oscura, we have the frontman of Hueco here
Yeah.
with us. Um, this is dope as shit. I'm gonna cut to a clip here, and then we'll be
Okay.
right back. So here we have Hueco. Oh, wait, nope, I screwed it up. Hueco.
Buscaste detrás del espejo todo lo que quisiste ser. Y en cuanto viste tus deseos muertos, lloraste hasta enloquecer.
Goth band. That was dope as shit. So how did Hueco start?
Well, this is a story of that it has 27 years now,
Oh man, yeah,
and
I've
if
been
we
going
add
for a while too.
the
That's not that long.
yeah,
That's cool.
but if we add the years of my previous band, the band that
Uh huh.
where Hueco came, it's like 30 something years, you know.
Wow.
We came from a band that was called Los Olvidados, the Forgotten Ones, like the Luis Buñuel film. And yeah, we were like into this sort of music because we were like, well, not like, we were teenagers in the 80s, you
Right,
know,
right.
and we grew up with when all these bands were huge here in Mexico. I mean, everybody were listening to The Cure, Love and Rockets, Peter Murphy. Curious thing, nobody was listening to. Well, yes, one or two persons were listening to Joy Division, but Joy Division wasn't a huge thing here.
Interesting.
Bauhaus was like the band, you know.
That's it's funny in the gothic VHS or Betamax.
Right.
You would choose Peter Murphy or Joy Division.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the cult band. I mean,
Okay.
yes, there was The Cure, which was like the mainstream
Yeah, they're
band.
pal.
But yeah, but Bauhaus were like, wow, these guys, you know. And we came from this time where rock was banned in Mexico for more or less 20 years.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
Just like
yeah.
as a moral standard from like some governing body or
Oh, moral, political, everything, you know,
wow,
because
that's crazy, man.
yeah,
So like if
yeah, yeah.
somebody's flipping through your CDs and they say they see whatever level tear us apart, like do you get a fine or something like that? How does
No,
that?
no, 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 no. I mean, not. We had, you know, of course, we had rock, international rock albums, you know,
Uh-huh.
LP records, because I mean, this was business, and it
Right.
was singing in some other language, you know, of course, most of it English, and but not in Spanish. And the thing is that not rock, but youth was seen like a red light here in Mexico, you know, because we
Right.
had all this with the student movement in '68. There was this huge massacre in the city, in Mexico City, of students, and then we had not a massacre, but a repression in '71, a huge repression in July, and then 3 months later we have like our good stock here in Mexico. It was called in Avándaro. This is a town 3 hours from Mexico City in this forest, and it congregated like well, every time I mean, everybody says that they were there, you know, like but it was like
Oh, right. Okay.
like some 300,000 people
Wow. Holy
there,
shit.
you know, listening to Mexican bands, not international, but Mexican
Wow.
bands.
Okay.
And the next day, you know, the papers, it went like all hell broke
Okay.
loose. The
Right. Right.
youth is lost.
Right.
Drug addicts.
Okay.
You know,
Mass
like
chaos. Cats and
Ghostbusters.
dogs
Yes,
living
drug
together.
addicts. Fire from the sky. Cats living with dogs. And then rock was banned. You know, like that, because they didn't want the youth and the university youth, you know, to get together and to do all this thing. And then I guess they saw that rock could gather a lot of young people. So yeah, it was banned. It was not like there was not this law, you know,
Okay.
but if promoters didn't do concerts because they know that the police were
Right.
going to arrive and make all these riots, and they going to apprehend people. I mean, you couldn't even walk the streets, you know, if you had long hair and you're a t-shirt or something, because the police could pick you up and, you know, beat you, or worse, you know, cut your hair in front of many people, and many people would clap, you know, like, yeah, that's
pretty
good. I mean,
gnarly.
yeah. So that happened. And then in the 80s, everything changed because of NAFTA, you know,
Oh yeah.
and international concert. I mean, first international concert of bands singing in Spanish from Spanish and Argentinian bands came to Mexico, and they began to make all the shows around the city, and then in the city. And then when NAFTA came, concerts from American or British bands began to happen again, first on the other states, and then in Mexico City. and the rest is history. I mean, everything changed, but I mean, we have all this. We were like trying to get things or information wherever we could, you know.
Hmm.
So yes, that's why some bands here in Mexico were huge, like Bauhaus, you know,
Hmm.
because we had the at some point in '83 they released The Hunger, and everybody was like, you know, all these films were like, if you weren't going to like a concert, you know,
Yeah.
because we didn't have that. I mean, we had Pink Floyd The Wall, we had you know, put again in cinemas films like Let It Bleed by the Rolling Stones, The Song
Hmm.
Remains the Same, but Led Zeppelin, and the cinema, it looked like if you were in this concert, you know. So yes, I mean, because of this film, Bauhaus became a huge thing, you
Hmm.
know, in the within people that liked rock and that
Right.
like, you know, this sort of stuff. And by the end of the '80s, it was, I mean, the fashion and the trend and everything like that. People were using mascara, you know, the hair like palm tree and that stuff like that, you know.
Hmm.
Not just the Cure, many bands, of course. In the imaginaries, we have the Cure, like the band who had this look and this haircut, and that's like,
Okay.
okay, I mean, so it was like everybody there, but and that was like the proto scene in Mexico. But
Right.
it became as a fact in '94, once when it was not a trend anymore, but it was more like a cult thing. But Cleopatra and Project Records became
Yeah.
huge. And yes, London After Midnight came here to Mexico, and then many people saw it as the year zero
Really? London
the
After
yes.
Midnight coming to Mexico?
Yes, but it was because you realize that there were people, Mexican people dressing all in
Uh-huh.
black. You
Right.
had radio shows. You not only have these bands coming from Mexico and to Mexico and making a very huge gig, but you have now you have bands that they declare themselves as part
Hmm.
of this culture, you know.
Interesting. Okay.
And then, yes, Hueco, I mean, we were there like Los Olvidados, but then we formed Hueco. I mean, it was adjust some things, and I said, well, let's make it much more, you know, heavy and
Hmm.
industrial, not with all this delay stuff, but more, you know,
Right.
more of the part of the times. And yes, that's how it came to be, you know.
Hmm.
But yes, we were born in '95. Once the scene was already, you know, in the year one of the scene, and we began to work with the people who were there, you know, in the same scene. And we are now called the, you know, the old guard. We were called
Yeah, I hear that.
ago, you know. Now it's like 10 years ago, we were the old guard. Now I don't know what we are. I mean, maybe we are the Jurassic of the scene.
Now,
Now,
well, you've certainly curated new growth, sort of like when they foster hard forests by planting five trees for one they cut down, but contributed in your own right. Looks like, forgive my horrific pronunciation,
don't worry.
Canciones de Obscuridad y Desaliento.
Right.
Came out in February of 2021, as what I found was the last. Josh Bentley of Pitch Black Manor is in the chat room. Bring out all the stars today. The Jurassic Guard says is a great band name. Ernesto says so many things said about Avandaro. What was meant to be a rock and roll peace and love celebration, media said it was a massive orgy. Um, and
Yeah.
against this backdrop, we have Hueco fast forward to 2021 when Canciones comes out. I was curious if that, as the most recent, what I could find, Hueco album, had any sort of unifying sound or gestalt, or where you would put that release like in the emotional pantheon of previous Hueco releases, if you will.
Well, it has to do with the second album. I mean, the
Uh-huh.
first album. I mean, the first. It's like I know where you establish your principles. I don't know. It
Right.
was a very raw record, a very raw album,
Hmm.
and for the second album that it was called in Spanish Invierno, winter in English, but
Hmm.
it's Invierno. It's upon with Infierno, with hell.
Hmm.
Because everything
Okay,
was
cool.
meant to be like the concept of hell, going through hell, and the sound was of that album. We tried to do something not like traditional goth line, from
Hmm.
these bands from Cleopatra. I mean, we were like listening much more to Radiohead, Portishead,
Hmm.
uh, The Wall, all these albums that you hear and you get depressed just by
For sure.
listening to them, and they're
Wonderful. I
like
love it.
goth.
Yeah.
And and then we went into this hiatus, of like
Oh, okay.
5 years.
Sure.
And I made this other project that is called the Dragulas, which is more like a new wave
Okay. Oh, awesome.
techno pop band, more glam.
Love
But
it.
people in some in the independent record label said, well, yes, it's great, the band, but why don't you release another album from like
Yeah,
so
I know yeah, this
yeah.
side project shit is great, Brian, but why don't you get back to the gothicals there, buddy? No.
Then I mean, we released. I mean, I was I'm the last original member of Hueco,
Hmm.
but I began to work with the keyboard in the 2000s. So
Hmm.
it's like we are like the old in the band. We are like the oldest members there.
Okay.
But then when I relaunched the project, I called like the guitar player from our first band, Los Olvidados. You know that,
Hmm.
and then it just made click. So back then we said, okay, we have to make an album that recovers all the sound of the original sound of Hueco,
Okay, cool.
and after that we began to work in this album and say, well, okay, so we had that, we recovered that, we were, I mean, we have the fortune of having people from the Jurassic Guard and from the new and the new generation that is come, the post punks, as they call themselves. uh, and we released this album, like picking up on the pieces of our second album, that it was not like in a traditional, goth
Hmm.
line, but open it to these other things. But yeah, try to no, it's not a conceptual album, of course, but it has a theme, like
Sure. That's
there.
awesome.
And we deal much more with not with folk beings or fantasy beings, like vampires or something like that, but much more with the dark part of human nature.
Interesting. Okay.
So we were like, okay, let's do something about what is happening right now. I mean, we began to work in the album, uh, a few years ago, or in 2018. We
Mm.
prepared the new songs, because we said, okay, we release it in 2020, celebrating our 25 years.
Mm.
The new album, we have released some other things before that, just preparing all this stuff. And we were talking about all this fake news environment
Hmm.
that that occurs,
Okay.
and all
Oh yeah.
the things of not getting good information from good sources, and just letting you go with the when you had all this fake news stuff. And we began making videos where, this post-apocalyptic things, where we were using gas
Hmm.
mask. And then here we are. It was like, oh, when we released the album, many people were like, but how come you were talking about all this? And then I said, it's something that it was on the horizon, that it was coming, and we were like, I don't know if it's saying fortunate to put it on the lyrics or on the videos, but it was like, uh, it's sort of dreadful that you had it there, and that
Meaning
not
like just
only
a
us.
general.
Yeah,
There was because I think I'm picking up what you're putting down in terms of if I'm putting myself in my November of 2019 brain, there there is sort of just like a prurientness or just like an itchiness in the air of just
right.
something gnarly is coming down the pipe.
Hmm.
So that it's pretty fascinating you were able to harness that and maybe harness is the wrong word, but channel that at least
Hmm.
in a musical context. People can check out this album at is it Hueco Dark? At
Yeah, Hueco Dark. Yeah.
.bandcamp.com. Where should
Yeah.
let's
Yes,
do
it's.
some
I mean,
advertising.
it's really in the platform of your preference, of course.
Okay.
But one thing that we learned through this
Yeah.
pandemic stuff is that you should go to Bandcamp because that's where independent bands get
Yeah.
much more better support of people. I mean, if you want to support the band, go there, buy the music.
It's
I think we
insane.
have the physical edition of the album. You support us there in Bandcamp. I mean,
Okay.
yes, of course. If you
So
want to listen in these other platforms, of course, there they are. But
well,
the
but so the URL that people should check out is indeed Hueco dark.bandcamp.com.
mhm.
Okay, cool. Um, we are running out of space gas a little bit,
Okay.
so I want to jump into this before we go because we talked about it a little bit before the show. We are both something of cinematic fans. I was wondering if you could recommend me a movie I might not have seen.
Well, we were talking about this film Space Quest, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Galaxy Quest. Yeah,
Galaxy Quest.
where there is this thing where you have the idea that something is like that, but that idea is only in your head,
Uh huh.
and that is something that has, as we've been talking, happens here in Mexico when you say, well, uh, of course, if I go to America and I don't know, to this the whole country is what I see in the media that I like. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I can get there, all dressed in black with my
Right.
eyes and
Right.
makeup,
It's
and
gonna be this wonderland as soon as I
yeah.
get there.
And guess what? No. This only happens in specific spaces.
Right.
And the New York that I've imagined, all my life, it only exists in my mind. It's
Right.
not real.
Right.
And there is this Russian film that it was released in the States by the name of as it was named as Hipsters,
Okay.
but it's in the original name is Styliagi in Russian, and it's a musical, a
Mm-hmm.
musical that uses most of the most popular rock and relative genre songs from Russia,
Mm-hmm.
in their soundtrack, and they have, you know, made them to fit the film. But it's the film about this subculture, let's call it, like, or this scene that was
Mm-hmm.
previous to rock and roll erupted in Russia, well, in the Soviet Union. But it was all these guys from Moscow that they developed this swinging kind of
Mm-hmm.
subculture there, thinking that all this was happening in New York or in the United
Right.
States. And yes, the delusion comes when they
Mm-hmm.
get to go and find that it isn't real, that
Wow.
it's only happening in Moscow. with this amount of people that are like 100 people, there.
Right.
And it's a fantastic film because I mean you get to see I mean all the not only this I mean not only the delusion of this but the Soviet youth there imposing themselves, blocking all these guys and
Hmm.
grabbing them on the streets, cutting their hair, the same thing that happened in Mexico.
Fascinating.
Yeah, yeah, it's I mean you can find it in YouTube. I mean it's like
That's
there
yeah. Reminds me of
with subtitles, right?
okay, check that out then. Great. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some uh it's Sunny Side of the Street or something like that about getting from east to west Berlin and a lot of the same thing. Like as soon as we cross that wall,
Yeah, yeah,
magic will happen. But it's fascinating. All right, great. Thanks for the recommendation. We'll check that
yeah.
out. What is next for the mighty Jose? More festival, more music. What do you got in the
Well,
clip, man?
yes, I mean, this was like the first edition of the festival. We are hoping to do it hybrid because, I mean, everything is going to be hybrid. I mean,
Sure.
but yes, develop it, little by
Oh,
little
exciting.
in order to get to this to be, like in the yes, in the real world, not only in the metaverse, but in the real world, or using the metaverse as Kent and Adam Bomb suggested as well. But having it, with all these fantastic bands that we have managed to be in touch with, bands from. This was a continental festival, that the one that we have, right? And yes, if we can get, bands from Canada, from the state, from Mexico, from
Yeah.
in a future, that would be great. So yes, we're going to develop this in order to this to happen. I mean, not just by the Festival Obscura, but we talk with the other dark scene festivals in Mexico that are very huge, like Octubre Negro, the Black October, it's
Hmm.
called in English, the Genesis Festival, the Pure Festival. I mean, that we have to gather forces to, we know that it's not a mainstream scene, but it's a scene that is uh, everywhere. We have noticed that it's like this amount of people working. But if we can get to develop something at the Gothic Treffen, here in Mexico City, that attracts people from
Oh,
all the
you
world.
said it now. The chat room's blowing up. Um, Ken says they're coming to Mexico City for the next one, Amaranth 2023. Adam Bomb, MTV TV will be there to help. DJ D42 would love to be at an IRL Festival Oscura. Yeah, Vegete Mexico would be the
Yeah.
dream.
I mean, having Space Couch, not, I mean, you playing in the festival, but also
Hey!
an edition from Mexico, from in the Festival Oscura to the world. I mean, it would
Yeah.
be great, I
Well,
mean,
Gossicles Gasoline would be in on it for that. We'll bring the Boston contingent down to Mexico City. That would be amazing. Um, or if Hueco's ever in space, we'll definitely book you here.
yeah.
On the moon or Saturn or something. Jupiter, we kind of got to fight with,
Okay.
yeah, Jupiter's a bunch of dicks. But like
Yeah.
Saturn, definitely Saturn.
Okay.
So, what we learned here today. First of all, and I want to throw this out there, you can go check out Festival Oscura now. It's all the recordings are on YouTube.
Yeah.
Um,
We're
Amaranth, the Angel Spits, Disorder, Godless Procession, Underdark, all these wonderful bands we saw there. Go check out. I had a question here about Festival Oscura, the board game, which we'll have to skip because we're out of time. But maybe on that board game would be every time you discover a new band, you can move forward three.
full forward. Yeah.
Yeah. But go do that. I bring that up so you can go do that in your real life on YouTube. We want to check out. Thanks to Deanna for finding the URL hueco.bandcamp.com.
Mhm.
Um, MTV TV on Twitch. Just It's MTV for goths, man. Go check it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
And of course, festivaloscura.com. Thanks once again to D42. Um, any final thoughts before we punch out here on episode 124 of Space
Well,
Couch?
just giving all the thanks for the space for the space and the space, and yes, for opening another window, and for you being part of the broadcast. We of the broad of all this networking. Of course, we love to have you here.
Oh,
You know,
hey,
as
well,
part of this. And thank again to Ken, Sounds and Shadows, Adam, Diana, and MTV TV. Without them, this wouldn't have happened. It's like also thanks to Ivan at Mantis Oscura and Juju Wayne, the girl who was singing in this amazing Brazilian band that you all loved.
oh
That
yeah,
is
that's that super
wrong.
powerful
Yeah,
one if you're watching at home. That,
yeah.
but yeah. Well, to say nothing of the amazing, rich vocal, dare I say, boner causing vocals of our wonderful guest here today. You have quite the voice box on you, sir. As well as organizational skills. We look forward to seeing the next one online or in person. Until then, this is Brian
Okay.
for Space Couch, for Jose, for Festival Oscura, for Hueco, saying, call the spaceships to Davenport, prepare for Devanarchy, and interface with a couch in space. Space Couch out. I don't know if you can still hear me, but this is that thing where it goes to credits.
Yep. Yeah, yeah,
There's some compressor on it or something. Like it drops out your vocals the more I talk. Usually by this time I'm so spent I haven't sort of gone back and figured it out. In the
Okay.
studio. But it sounds like we're still talking. So if you can hear me at home there, you can get on these wonderful Space Couch credits at patreon.com/gothsicles.